Hello YouTube and welcome back to World of Warships with Wadres. And yes, I do still have the audacity to provide my disclaimer and produce YouTube videos from the perspective of a co-op World of Warships player. I suppose that is rather fitting because today's video is all about the Tier 10 Royal Navy aircraft carrier HMS Audacious. And let me tell you, I have actually been having a rather interesting time with this ship. Overall, I'm not going to say it hasn't been a roller coaster because there are still some of the issues that are inherent to aircraft carriers overall. But I'm actually finding that she is, for all intents and purposes, at least for the moment, a rather reasonable ship to work with in the current CV environment. I have had more than a couple of matches where I have broken 100,000 damage, and in a couple of cases I've even done upwards of 150, even 200,000 damage in this ship in co-op matches. In fact, I even actually had one match, granted it was a defeat because I was the only player character, but the overall damage for that match totaled upwards of 230,000 damage, and I only lost that match because I ran out of time trying to kill the last of the enemy ships. So yeah, it was a very, very interesting match to start, to say the least. But overall, I've just been having all kinds of fun with the Audacious. One, yeah, her aircraft are slow, but they have a lot of durability where the American and Japanese aircraft carriers do not. Their aircraft are maneuverable, which means they can turn around almost on a dime to actually re-engage and re-attack. And overall, I'm just finding the Audacious very, very player-friendly in a lot of regards. I have certainly been having a much better time working with her than the Tier 8 HMS Implacable. Lord knows I really have not had the best of luck in the Implacable at all, even after some of the recent... I'm not sure the Implacable actually received any buffs, but even so, it's... the Implacable's still been giving me problems, to not put too fine a point on it. So, moving up to the Audacious was actually a rather dramatic upgrade and a major improvement in the quality of life as far as I was concerned for the Royal Navy aircraft carriers. The Audacious, again, has just seemed to be far easier to work with, and definitely showcases all of the exemplary traits that make the Royal Navy aircraft carriers what they were supposed to be when they were introduced. High durability, high mobility of the aircraft, and just overall very, very capable aircraft carriers in general. One of the things that I can't help but think is I better enjoy it while I can, because with some of the matches that I have been having lately, I am thoroughly expecting Wargaming to strike her with the Nerf hammer at some point or other, simply because she has the audacity, again, I'm going to play with that pun all day long, to excel where a lot of the other aircraft carriers are suffering. So yeah, I mean, there you have it. She's actually doing well, and well, we all know how people are feeling about aircraft carriers doing well lately. So, yeah, anyway, that aside, one of the things that I have also managed to do, and unfortunately it's not going to be showcased in this video, is I have in the last couple of days managed to unlock her maxed out carpet bombers. So they have, the only real difference there is that they have, I think, an extra 2 bombs in their drop payload per aircraft. So just a little bit more overall strike power. But even the stock bombers, as you're watching here, still had a decent chunk of power behind them as long as you were able to line up your attack runs properly. And, well, whenever I'm doing my review videos, even if I've moved on, I really like posting my first 3 battles so that you can see my progression as I was getting used to the aircraft carrier and just the kind of potential that I was able to bring out over the span of matches. In that regard, I hope these matches do not disappoint, but at the same time, they are also fairly representative of the matches I've been having with her overall anyway. So, I do feel that these are a respectable testament to what the Audacious is capable of. First match, 73,000 damage done, 77,000 credits earned, 1,358 EXP, 82 free EXP. There were no modifiers on that I am aware of at this point in time. It's been a few days. But I do like to run my new ships without modifiers, at least at the start, just because it gives me a testament of what their earnings are going to be like without them whenever my flag stockpile and whatever actually runs out. 317 base EXP, which was respectable for a first match in a Tier 10 aircraft carrier that I had no idea what to expect from. 23,000 damage from bombs, 30,000 damage from torpedoes, 5,500 damage just from rockets. So the rockets are even viable for a change, which I'm thinking is probably going to be nerfed for this aircraft carrier at some point as well. 2,000 damage from fire, 12,000 damage from floods. Overall, not bad. In fact, I even landed almost 30,000 damage from just spotting. So very respectable numbers. As far as the credit earnings net for the match, I only netted about 259 credits. Granted, as far as I'm concerned, that's still a good match. I at least broke even. But I always have the feeling that, I can do better, and I certainly will try. Also, the commander earned 1,427 EXP for the match, which is not bad. Now let's move on to match 2. Now, this match was a little bit more of a... I wasn't sure what I was going to be doing with this match, to be perfectly honest, just because I was looking at the lineup and it was Tier 10 across the board, up to and including some well-known AA cruisers like the Worcester, the Minotaur, the Hindenburg. The Zhao isn't quite so well known, but the Republique, the Conqueror, those are pretty well known for having good, strong AA builds, and even bots still have some reasonably respectable anti-air damage output. So I was kind of expecting to not do too well on this match. And in that regard, I think I can safely say that I was very surprised. Now, it does kind of take a little bit for my damage numbers to actually start coming in, because I do still have to contend with all of the AA to start off with. But overall, I still believe I do some respectable damage overall. I mean, I start out with almost 5,500 against a full health Zhao. And, well, that strike against the Yamato was kind of lousy, but And then, of course, I just kind of make the mistake of tanking straight into the AA bubble of, like, 4 different ships. Yeah, I probably deserved to lose that squadron. Yeah. Ay. Of course, in doing the recording, I also kind of made an oops. I actually had the camera as a free look for a little bit, so I actually had to realize that I needed to just have it set to the cursor. But anyway, that's beside the point. Ay. Next, try is dive bombers on the Zao. Yeah, there are definitely better things I could try to pull off the bombing runs on, but even so, I'm not overly disappointed because I do still get about 6,000 damage from my run on the Zao. But while I'm looking at the mini-map, I realize that I have a friendly who is way off on his own against a Hindenburg and one of the enemy conquerors. So I do want to try and get over there to assist him as much as possible, even if he is a bot, because bots can still be somewhat indispensable in regards to our ability to just finish and pull through a match. Unfortunately, I do not get over there to save him, but at least he trades himself for a Hindenburg. But that does leave me with a reasonable enough situation where I can take on the Conqueror and only have to deal with its AA. And with that being the case, I'm sure you can understand why I decide over the next little bit to basically just focus all of my attention on the Conqueror. Just because it is very, very much an isolated target, which is exactly the kind of thing that aircraft carriers are supposed to punish. And oh boy, do I punish it. Now, one of the things that I have noted about the Audacious as far as its aircraft, it does have good, nice damaging torpedo sets, which is one very nice, strong thing about her. But above all else, her bombers are phenomenally strong, especially against larger targets like the battleships, because specifically of the way their bombing reticle works. They have a nice long bombing reticle, and as long as you aim properly, by the time your bombs are actually landing, the entire enemy ship can be in the drop zone and just plastered from bow to stern with multiple bomb hits, multiple fires that stick, and oh boy, does that really help. Now, I do pull back the squadron just because there was no way I could see getting those aircraft back at all if I tried to perform another run, but I would rather have the aircraft on deck resupplied and repaired than lose any of my aircraft trying to get more damage. And I think that's actually one of the other things that helps me out over the course of several of my matches, is that I realize, you know what, I'd rather have a full deck of aircraft than the damage. And in a way that actually trades off by meaning more damage, because it means that I actually have aircraft that I can continue to recycle and reuse to get more and more damage over the course of a match. As again, I previously mentioned, I just keep punishing this Conqueror. I turn around, I run on it, I turn around again, I run on it, and when my aircraft start getting low, I pull them away, if at all possible. Unfortunately, yeah, that torpedo squadron doesn't quite make it back. But, I mean, that's basically what the aircraft carrier is supposed to do. Just farm damage, punish targets, and just excel overall at doing whatever they can to get as much damage as possible, preferably with losing as few planes as possible. Of course, we do still have the Russian event going on in the background, so that's why you've got the initial battle overlays here, earning some good points. 96,000 damage done overall for this match, most of it admittedly farmed on that Conqueror. 143,000 credits earned, 1,871 EXP, 395 free EXP. 26 bomb hits, which is a phenomenal number as far as I'm concerned. Also 28 rocket hits. Damn. That's better than I've done in most other aircraft carriers. 437 EXP base. So again, respectable numbers in that regard. As far as the detailed report, aircraft as a whole did 65,000 damage, 25,000 damage from torpedoes, 33,000 damage from the bombs, which this is probably one of the few cases where I can actually say that the bombs are far more viable damage source than the torpedoes. But the torpedoes are still very strong, reliable damage in their own right. As far as floods and fires, I got a reasonable mix between the two, with almost 15,000 just from the fires and another almost 16,000 from floods. I only got 15,800 damage from spotting, but you know what? I'm considering where my attention was focused and where my allies were. I think I can live with the outcome overall. And I didn't even really lose all that many planes. I only lost 7 rocket attack planes, 6 bombers, and I think 3 torpedo bombers. So good, respectable, minimal losses as far as I'm concerned. Almost 56,000 credits earned net for the match, which is nice and respectable. More than breaking even for the match, even with my aircraft losses. And the commander, yes, I was running modifiers for this match, earned 500... Geez, I'm going to keep saying that. 5,800 damage. So very, very respectable numbers all around. But, you know, you can always do better. Cue match number 3. As a side note, I really had to love my teammates' Hogan's Heroes reference here. Of course, I certainly make one of my own very quickly. But, yeah, just had to shout out to that. Now, as a whole, over the course of this match, I'm reasonably sure that I do still make a couple of misplays. I am only human, I'm not perfect, and I'm certainly not the most experienced aircraft carrier player, though I have been getting better. But there were some things that I really wanted to try and accomplish. And one of them was getting damage in on the brand new Russian cruiser, the Lazo. I almost said the Laszlo for some reason. But, unfortunately, my initial run, I don't have the spotting time on it, so I decided to retask for the Conqueror. And, well, yeah, not exactly the best lineup, but for a lousy drop, I think I can still be happy with 6,000 damage. Granted, it's a Conqueror, it can heal most of that back because these are HE bombs, but overall, I think it's still respectable. Second run, however, is much, much better, and I still really only get another 6,000 damage. So, not bad. Could definitely be better. Unfortunately, there's a lot of AA focused in that area, and I really only get one of those aircraft back. But, you know what, I had a goal, I was trying to accomplish it, and while I may not quite have succeeded at it, I certainly gave it my best shot. I mean, 12,000 damage in two runs is reasonably respectable. You can see that I'm not even worrying about the Kagero. I just kind of want to see what I can do to this cruiser. And I'm not overly disappointed either. I mean, I get a good strike in, and my damage takes up to almost 20,000, which is like, I think that was 8,000 damage that I did to the enemy Lazo. So, good, respectable, solid damage in that regard. And of course, because before I completely lose my squadron, I do return to the Conqueror and knock some more damage into it with a fire. Granted, the fire doesn't stick, so the damage doesn't keep counting, but you know what? It's still damage, and I can live with it. Now, at this point, there are a couple of enemies that are kind of going off on their own merry way. One of them being this Moskva, and I do kind of want to punish that because, again, what RNCV is good for if not punishing isolated targets? So I definitely want to punish this Moskva hard. And I may not necessarily succeed at that at first, but I definitely do at least get in my say as far as the damage goes. The 2 nice solid torpedo hits on the first run. The second run is going to be even better because for whatever reason I think the Moskva was actually starting to slow down. It was also getting ready to turn around and run itself aground, I believe. But overall, I mean, 3 solid torpedo hits, I can live with that. And of course the enemy Montana, I'm going to give it the good news as well, reminding it that, hey, there's an aircraft carrier here. You're not going to be able to get away with shit just at random. And it's certainly not happy with me either after doing almost 9 or 10,000 damage in a single torpedo run. Granted, Montana is a tier 10 battleship. It's got 96,000 health overall, so that 10,000 is really probably little more than the bee sting. But you know what? Bee stings can still hurt. And I'm just going to add on to that very, very quickly with 8,500 damage from a rocket strike, also setting a fire that is going to stick. And I come back around, and with another run from the rocket attack planes, I set another fire that sticks, but only doing 1,500 damage. But when you've got 2 fires that are sticking, who cares about 1,500 damage? I think it's just happy that it shot down, 6 of my planes? So, yeah, but overall, that Montana's definitely hurting. And that damage is just going to keep ticking away at, I think, 1,500 every second. So, really good, solid fire damage on that Montana. So, with the Montana burning, I decide to bring my attention back over to the Moskva that nobody can really shoot at. And I'm definitely going to do, again, some pretty fair damage to it. 2 nice solid torpedo hits, I think about 9,000 damage there. Come back around, oh, and hey, guess what? Montana just burned down! So, all that's really left is the enemy Moskva. And torpedoes away, and, well, if anything has been proven at this point, it's that I am good at predicting my torpedo drops. 3 solid torpedo hits, again, with that last run on the Moskva. Unfortunately, I am not going to get the kill on the Moskva, however, because our Vladivostok has a completely different plan. Charging in and deciding, you know what, gonna go out with a bang, finish the Moskva off with a ram. And that's the match. But overall, I have earned some rather respectable damage. 90 points earned for the match. I actually managed to complete my actual objective for the event. 130,000 damage, 166,000 credits. 2,164 EXP, 458 free EXP, 18 bomb hits, 33 rocket hits, and 13 torpedo hits. Very good, respectable damage. Even came out third on the team with 506 base experience points. So very good numbers all around. almost 90,000 damage done alone from aircraft. That's 30,000 damage from bombs, 50,000 damage from torpedoes, 10,000 from rockets. So very good, solid numbers all around. Also, 40,000 damage just from fire and floods, and most of that was from that poor Montana. But there was also 6,000 damage from floods, and another... all of the fire damage was on that Montana. It really did not like me. I also did manage about 24,000 damage of spotting, so good all around. And I really only lost 25 of my aircraft, and most of those were probably in the initial stages trying to bomb the enemy Conqueror and that Lazo. Overall, though, only lost 6 rocket attack planes and, I think, 6 torpedo bombers. Overall net earnings 67,000 credits, and Commander earned 6,725 EXP. Overall, very respectable matches, and I hope you all agree. Anyway, on that note, I hope you all enjoyed the matches that you have seen here. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed them, and I hope I will catch you all again next time. On that note, I'll let you all go. Take care, and happy hunting, folks.